Hi, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Treble Tapes podcast where we discuss everything Manchester United. And in today's transfer news, we are going to be talking about Carlos Baleba. The Cameroonian 21-year-old Carlos Baleba, has been targeted by Manchester United, I don't know if it's this January or um during the summer. But first, let's get into the show. Like, share, and subscribe as this video is available on Spotify, YouTube, and the rest. So make sure you stay tuned and keep on watching this video. Now, Carlos Baleba, has been having a tough time this season. The reason why we targeted him on the first place is because, last season, he was literally on top of the world, scoring some goals and, just playing the midfield like it was nothing, right? And Manchester United were, with our midfield situation, it is rather certain now that we definitely need a midfielder, right? A holding six to be precise, because again, we are looking for a long-term, midfielder, the solution where, we can play from the back and progress to the front and just, being resolute, and depending on the type of system we play, we just need a midfielder, to be honest. It's been so many years that Man United are going without, a midfielder. A true out and out midfielder where, they take the ball from the back, progress it to the front, and give it to the eights, to the tens, or to the wingers. And right now we are looking at Carlos Baleba, at Adam Wharton, and few others like this Conor Gallagher thing. I'm not getting it, but we are going to talk about all of that. So with Carlos Baleba, according to Fabrizio Romano on his YouTube video yesterday, he said Manchester United are still, targeting Carlos Baleba, and he is high on the list when it comes to midfielders, and he is the main target to what Man United are looking for, right? Yes, last season this preseason, before the preseason, by the way, in the summer transfer, we were looking at Carlos Baleba, and putting down the foundations, like laying the ground foundations where, we had discussions on how much was his fee, how much will he be sold at, various things, like, how, would he fit into the system. And Man United are still strong candidates to get him, right? As a Cameroonian, I'm looking at Carlos Baleba saying, right now, he is key, to what we are looking for, even though his form hasn't been right, which I will get to in a second. Carlos Baleba this season has been very poor, to be honest. He has been poor. And the minutes that has been given to him this season is so underwhelming compared to last season, where he was playing week in, week out. Fast forward to this season, he's being subbed off so many times, you would think that he has a personal problem. And everybody now is blaming Man United for the fact that, we turned his head, and he's now out of a sudden out of form, right? Yes, he is out of form. But that is not due to Man United. Yes, it has something to do with Man United, because we actually came to buy him from, Brighton, but the move did not work because Brighton wanted much more, and they stuck by the fact that they didn't want to sell him. but at the same time, they want to sell him for a high fee, which I will get to. But let's discuss about Carlos Baleba's form, right? I mean, you can clearly see I'm seeing on social media some little cryptic things he's posting and just saying, God's time, why rush things when God has in control, while God is in control, sorry. I mean, like, you can clearly see that he is very interested to come to Man United. I, as a Cameroonian, by the way, I'm looking at at Carlos Baleba, seeing what he's getting at, right? And despite the fact that, yes, Carlos Baleba, Man United are looking at you and they want to get you still have to perform, right? Now, stop down tooling yourself or bringing down yourself, getting out of form, forcing Brighton to sell you. But at the same time, what can happen is you make a mistake and, don't play well. Man United might not look at you, right? And which comes to what I'm seeing, the discussion that I'm seeing online right now with Man United fans doubting Carlos Baleba. Because again, fans' emotions and fans' eyes, what they see changes in seconds, right? The reason why we targeted, Carlos Baleba all these years of him playing at Brighton is because he has been a fantastic player, fantastic midfielder, by the way, who he's fast, has technicality, can dribble, can have a couple of shots in him, even though sometimes it goes wide, which is something that can be worked on. But you can really see why we are looking at him, because he takes the ball from the back, progresses it to the front, and sometimes shoots, right? Precisely, precisely like Caicedo. Caicedo, he has the same technicalities with Caicedo, has the same attributes like Caicedo, just the age difference. Caicedo is a little bit older than Carlos Baleba, which means, with time, he will grow, he will learn how to, put his thoughts together while he's progressing the ball and making the right choices, right? The discussion online is about, the fact that Carlos Baleba's form has reduced, and is he worth £100 million? Because that's what Brighton has set for him, right? Brighton often do this with their players. Caicedo came from there. A lot of players are coming from Brighton, especially midfielders, into other Premier League competitors. Carlos Baleba is one of them, and he is looking like somebody that has a very, very high ceiling. But because now he's looking a little bit suspect, a lot of fans are doubting him, which I cannot blame them, right? But at the same time, I'm here to just give my opinion to what I'm seeing and what I predict that will happen, right? Yes, I need midfielders I need players in general that can come into Manchester United and be the guy and be immediately. But you will not get that in life because it doesn't work that way, right? Look at Cunha, for example. When he came to Man United, I did not foresee the lack of form, I would say, till now. But it has happened. So you just have to deal with it as it comes, right? Carlos Baleba might go through the same thing. Or he is in the same wave of form right now, right? He hasn't moved. He is still at Brighton having a poor form. But he has had one or two odd games where you can clearly see it's just about the form, right? And which is something you can get out of. It's not something you stay in forever. You get out of, right? What I'm saying is he has been priced £100 million. I prefer, let Man United take their time and actually bid for a price lesser than that. Because again, his ceiling is high, but we don't know what we might get once he comes to this batch. This batch right here is very, very heavy, and you never know what you might get wearing it. Manchester United are going through a reshuffle of, players, being at the club for a while and understanding what the system is, understanding what it means to be a Manchester United player, and just wearing this shirt and the badge overall. And getting Carlos Baleba will be very good to how we play. Or let me say, despite the manager, we will still have a competent midfielder, right? A holding six where, again, like I said, just know how to take out smoke, knows how to take the ball from the back, or in any situation when we get counter attacks, for example, he knows how to stop the smoke and progress the ball, gives the ball to the two tens, gives the ball to the striker, or in some instances, shoot himself, like Caicedo does, right? Carlos Baleba has these attributes. All we are looking for right now is just how much he costs. That is the hold up. Again, there are two things. Is he going to be bought this January coming up, or is he going to be bought during the summer transfer window? I don't know. But what I'm looking at is, we have Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro, right? I don't know why the manager sees what he sees in these two, but Casemiro's form has been incredible. He has been incredible. And it's funny that, most rivals don't want to give Man United props when it comes to players performing this season. De Ligt, Casemiro, Brian Mbumo, like, you don't really hear their names come up in any discussions compared to these other midfielders, right? And even Bruno Fernandes, playing in a different position, by the way, being the holding six. Sometimes he progresses, but that is not where he usually plays. So far, he has been looking good with Casemiro. After a couple of games, that is what I mean by chemistry. In my previous videos, I talked about this chemistry, where a couple of games will get these players going because they know where each player goes into certain pockets, right? I talked about the chemistry with Ahmad and Brian Mbumo, free flowing right there. Now the left hand side with Cunha and whoever plays Luke Shaw or Dogu, the chemistry is not there because he's just there by himself. Feel me? That is it. But, when it comes to Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro, they have a good chemistry now. But then we are looking into the future, right? Because everybody's thinking, Carlos Baleba is coming to replace Bruno Fernandes, which is something that is wild. And I just cannot fathom that, A lot of people want to see Bruno Fernandes fall in so many ways, and I don't get it because, again, he has been the backbone of Manchester United. Going down to 15th or within the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup and other cups he has won. He has been the pinnacle of how far we have gone, contributing in goals. So when we are talking about replacing Bruno Fernandes as if he is finished, I just don't get it. The manager's choices are the manager's choices, and we should be holding the manager accountable when things don't go right, aka Kobe Mainoo. Kobe Mainoo should be our holding six, but his attributes are not that. He is an 8 or a 10. A 10. But then 8 is good. I think that's his position there. Looking at Kobe Mainoo this season as a holding six might not work because of the manager's system. But at the same time, he can still play there in a couple of games, depending the opposition. The manager just chooses not to play him, right? But then he comes out every now and then and talks about, Kobe Mainoo has the right to be angry, and the fact that he's not picking him, is just because there's not too many games to play, and Casemiro is really playing well, so he doesn't want to take him off. Yada yada yada. Looking at Carlos Baleba, or for example Adam Wharton or Anderson from Nottingham Forest, right? These are three names that has been coming up, and I'm just like, all these players you're naming, we do have a player called Kobe Meno. So we need to find a way and get him to start playing, because him sitting on the bench, when out of a sudden something happens, God forbid, touch the wood, and he has to start games. He's been cold for ages, freezing. So now to unfreeze him, throwing him into a game like that, guess what he will get? Criticism. Criticism of all angles. And that's just what I'm saying right now, you know? So, I mean, I hope Carlos Baleba gets this January, which Brighton will not allow that to happen, because, again, they are coming up against other Premier League teams where they will actually need players, even though they don't lack midfielders, they don't lack players to replace Carlos Baleba. I don't see that happening this January. I don't see, unless something change. I just don't see. And as for the summer, yes, I think that is very possible, because again, by then, summer transfer window, still Carlos Baleba might be, again, if Man United want to get him, they should be getting him at 80, 70 to 80, to be honest. 80 million, that's it. 100 million for Carlos Baleba is a no-no. I'm sorry. Even Adam Wharton don't deserve that amount. Anderson does not deserve that amount. I understand Caicedo was sold for that amount. Declan Rice was sold for that amount. I understand all of that, but at the same time, Osman United, when it comes to the recruiting part of this, Ineos have done extremely well. They have picked the best in cheaper prices relatively. And if you look at all the players we have gotten, is from when they stepped in, has been good. They are just out of form. Some of them are out of form, and they just need to come back. But overall, the individual players we are seeing are elite. So again, people, we just need to stay tuned and, just see what happens this summer, as Man United are going to come back, to an Everton game this Premier League season. Yes, we'll still have our players come back. Thank God none of them are injured right now. We will get them back safe, where, we just, can free flow and continue to win games as we have done this past 5 games. Drawn 2, 1, 3. So let's keep on going with the momentum, and let's see what Ruben Amorim's system holds, because again, this was somebody that was looking like he was going to be out of the door again, and then we start looking for another player, so another manager, sorry. Let's just wait and see what happens, and yeah, from there we can kick on. People, like, share, and subscribe. This has been the Treble Tapes podcast, episode 8. Continue to follow, continue to support me coming through with good vibes when it comes to Man United. So stay tuned, like, share, and subscribe. Looking forward to the back to the Premier League games against Everton. Stay tuned. Clovis TV, Clovis Football Talk. Have a nice day.